no good. And that'll do it. The Lakers come into Philadelphia and get blown out.
JJ Redick was still able to give Bronny James quality minutes in the losing effort.
He didn't play well, but he's been playing great, in the Stay Ready games, and he's been playing great in the G. So I have confidence in him, but obviously didn't provide that at a high level.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetsky.
What is up, Laker fans? This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA 710. Thank you, as always, for being here with us. DeAndre's here with us for an hour. Funchy's going to be with us for the next two. As always, we appreciate you hanging with this show as we do our traveling roadshow style schedule. We are always different nights, different times. It is difficult working around the Lakers, around the Rams, around USC, the LA Kings, all of the different teams that we are fortunate to be partners with at 710. Sometimes that means the Lakers Talk moves about, and you guys are always here. Very much appreciated. Got an excellent slate of guests tonight. Dave McMenamin from ESPN covers the Lakers. He's going to be joining us. Obviously, we're going to talk about the team, but I also want to get into a really cool piece that he wrote. It's up on the site right now, ESPN.com, about Randy Mims, one of LeBron's innermost circle guys. It's like Maverick Carter, Rich Paul, Randy Mims, and then I would say family, like true family. That's the inner circle, and I wanted to talk with him about, what Randy Mims brings to the table to LeBron, but also in some respects what the relationship tells us about LeBron himself. So that's at 6:30. Then at 7:15, Anthony Irwin, the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast and senior Lakers reporter for Clutch Points. He's going to break down where the Lakers go without Anthony Davis for the near future, but also he's been reporting a lot about the upcoming trade deadline. It is a week from tomorrow, February 6th. And in particular, he's been digging into potential centers that could be targeted for the Lakers. What are the odds that the Lakers will heavily pursue any of these guys? Who are the realistic targets? Who are the pie-in-the-sky targets? And down the line. And, of course, that takes us to the subject of Anthony Davis himself. In last night's 118-104 loss to a very undermanned 76ers, my condolences to Beto Duran for having to be the guy on postgame last night. I'm sure taking the brunt of a lot of angry Laker fans. I felt the same, by the way, over at the
I was the guy taking the calls, so it was a lot.
We were all feeling it because last night the Locked On Lakers podcast, available 5 days a week everywhere you get your podcast, Monday through Friday, always free, never behind a paywall. And for the sickos who like to watch, there is a YouTube page. And over at the YouTube component, in the comments section, a lot of folks very unhappy about that game. Anthony Davis, 43 points for Tyrese Maxey. Dude absolutely went off despite no Joel Embiid, no Paul George, no half of the damn roster. Tyrese Maxey goes off for 43. LeBron has 31 points pretty efficiently, but also 8 turnovers against 9 assists. And he looked tired to me on the second end of a back-to-back where he played 36 minutes the night before against a Charlotte team that, quite frankly, the Lakers should have been able to dispose of quickly. Dalton Connect had a pretty good game, starting to quietly make some shots again. Otherwise, very mixed bag. Rui Hachimura returns 13 points, 6 of 9 from the field, but not super impactful or involved. No Gabe Vincent, no Jared Vanderbilt. He's just injury management, maintenance, not playing the second end of a back-to-back. Austin Reeves, kind of a meh game. Dorian Finney-Smith, first bad game as a Laker. He was not very good, got into very quick and persistent foul trouble. Max Christie, pretty ineffective on both ends. Bronny James got some very early, very disastrous, and very controversial minutes that we're going to get into later in the show. But the big story, obviously, Anthony Davis exits the game in the first quarter after 10 minutes. The Lakers up 20-17, goes to the locker room shortly afterwards. It's then reported that he is out with an abdominal injury. The Lakers announced today that it is specifically an abdominal strain.
Say that 5 times.
You know what? I've learned today, not only do I struggle saying abdominal, I also really struggle spelling it. For some reason,
I do too.
I cannot spell.
One of those words that is really hard to spell.
I cannot spell abdominal. He is going to be reevaluated in a week. We don't know what grade the strain is. But I will say it struck me, and this is just guesswork. I don't know this sourced or anything, but it struck me as relatively optimistic that the reevaluation is in a week. It's not a very long time, and the Lakers tend to err on the side of vagueness when it comes to injuries, and the quicker the timeline that you are even offering for a public reevaluation, the quicker the impression you are allowing fans for the idea that Anthony Davis might be back relatively soon. That may not be accurate. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying you are allowing for that impression with a quicker reevaluation, and I'm guessing, again, it's a guess, but if the Lakers were really concerned that AD could be out a month, 6 weeks, maybe longer, they would push the reevaluation period back even further, because what's the point of reevaluating him publicly in a week if in the back of your head you're thinking this is 5 to 6 weeks minimum? It wouldn't make any sense. So my hope is that a week reevaluation means they are optimistic that AD might not miss too much time. He's definitely going to miss with that timeline the next 3 games, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he ends up missing the game against Golden State that happens to take place on the day of the trade deadline. So a lot happening there. Abdominal issues, they are very tricky. They're easy to trigger, to re-aggravate, so you got to be careful. Jeff Stotts, one of the leading sports medicine guys on Twitter, @InStreetClothes, tweeted out, regarding Anthony Davis, the average time lost for nondescript abdominal strains are 10 days, about 3 games. If the injury is more complex, think sports hernia or core muscle tear, the time lost dramatically increases. So we will see, keep our fingers crossed, but as I tweeted out during the game at Cam Brothers, the second quarter was yet another reminder that the Lakers are a much different team without Anthony Davis, and by different, I mean way, way worse. The game started just absolutely falling apart on both ends without Anthony Davis, and for however long he's out, like, this is going to be something that the Lakers have to contend with. He is the best player on the Lakers. He is the best two-way player on the Lakers. He is the offensive focal point. He is the defensive anchor, the most versatile defender. He is the best eraser that this team has of defensive mistakes, of which there are many. He is their best rebounder. You could argue he is the 3rd best ball mover on this team behind LeBron and Austin Reeves. You lose the 2-man game between AD and LeBron, the 2-man game between AD and Reeves. I even think the synergy between AD and Rui can be really good. You lose the ability, I think, to run a creative offense. You lose the ability to run an inside-out offense, because even though you can run things through LeBron in the post, the problem is without LeBron along the perimeter, usually with AD in the post as that focal point, all of a sudden you're basically left with Austin Reeves and hopefully soon Gabe Vincent as really your only facilitators and your only competent or better ball movers. And for the time being, Gabe Vincent, who's still questionable, is not available. So we'll get into over the course of 2 hours how the Lakers are going to stave off this time without Anthony Davis, however long it lasts. But to me, the number one thing is they're going to have to do this through execution on both sides of the ball. And JJ Redick, LeBron, AD have recently said that this is a team with no real margin for error. Like, they are not a team that even at full strength, much less without AD, can get by on the force of their sheer talent and coast that way, the way elite teams sometimes pace themselves through a game against lesser competition. The Lakers can't do that. They're going to have to, even with AD, much less without, but especially without, they're going to have to play damn near perfect from an execution standpoint, from a focus standpoint, from a playing hard, playing your asses off standpoint. They're going to have to do this for 48 minutes every game until AD gets back. Frankly, it's what they have to do with AD, but without, there's no choice. And look, is that really difficult to do? Particularly when now your best player is 40 years old in season 22? Yeah, it's really hard. They don't have another choice. Like, this is it. This is the way they are going to get through this period without Anthony Davis, however long it hopefully is, hopefully not very long, but you can't have these lapses of focus that J.J. Redick has talked about over the last two games against Charlotte and against Philadelphia. You can't have games with 15, 18, 20-plus turnovers. Like, you cannot do that. So that is, in a nutshell, the formula for getting by without Anthony Davis. One of the formulas does not, though, appear to be more minutes for Bronny James. He ended up getting a very rare bit of first-half run. It did not go well, and it's got a lot of people upset about it. I've heard it from a lot of fans. Stephen A. damn near lost his mind talking about this, and I feel like people are overlooking the very obvious thing that led to Bronny getting those minutes. We'll talk about that coming up next. Is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. after Greeny.
Banned words in class. So I hit Travis with this. He knew most of them, or almost all of them, except one or two.
2 or 3, yeah, there was a couple I didn't know.
Am I answering yes or no? Or?
No, just if you've heard these and tell us what they mean if you don't. Okay, ready? Banned words. Bruh, bro, on God, say less. You said that like 2 days ago. Say less.
Means you've sold me already. We're good.
Say less.
Yeah.
Gucci.
That one I did not know.
That's all good?
All good.
I didn't know that.
Type S, like type SH. Yeah. Okay. Riz.
Yeah.
You know what that is. What is Riz?
You got game.
Yeah, you got game. Yeah. That's what we said.
Yeah.
Bussin', I guess that would.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Mood. Gat.
Gat? Like you got gat?
No, like gad.
Oh. Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Orthodontics are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonicare electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com and remember you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
Hey, it's Steve Farr. If you're like me, you just don't want to watch the game. You want the best experience every time. That's why Absolute Sport is a game changer. VIP access to the biggest games, exclusive pregame parties, luxury hotels, whether it's courtside, ringside, or the 50-yard line, Absolute Sport makes sure you're there, not just watching, you're living the action. Visit us.absolute-sport.com. That's ABSOLUT-sport, and make your next sporting experience absolutely unforgettable.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
Although the Lakers snapped their 4-game winning streak in Philly last night, it was good to see Bronny James pick up extended minutes with the purple and gold.
Just bringing energy. That's what my coaches have been telling me. Just come in, play smart, play my game, and play for my teammates. That's all. Just trying to do the right thing as a rookie is my main priority. So just going out there and trying to play right.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
Who's this? Is this the Meters or like the Neville brothers?
This is the JBs.
Oh, it's the JBs. Okay. I like this.
I like this a lot, too. I heard this on the Righteous Gemstones. You ever heard that show on HBO?
Yeah.
Yes, it came on, and it blew my mind.
No,
I was
man,
like, I got to play this song on the show.
Like, in any other world where you're not associated with James Brown, like the JBs are considered just like one of the OG bands, but they're so overshadowed by their association with James Brown.
My mind was blown when I heard this song.
Yeah, these are some of the most killer musicians.
This is my new Thanksgiving song.
Like the Bootsy Collins was at one point part of the JBs. Like Bootsy used to play with.
That I did not know.
Yeah, Bootsy and I want to say his brother, who went by the nickname was Catfish. Those guys used to play with James Brown until they eventually realized James Brown was like so much of a taskmaster. It's way more fun to play with George Clinton. Like George Clinton was a hell of a lot more fun to play with than James Brown. Andy Kamenetsky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA 710. We're going to be joined in about 15 minutes by Dave McMenamin from ESPN, Anthony Irwin, Lakers senior reporter from Clutch Points, in about an hour. So obviously the biggest issue from last night's loss to the Sixers, and if you want to weigh in on that, weigh in on anything else, 877-710-ESPN, 118-104 loss to a very undermanned 76ers. Anthony Davis, the abdominal strain, he'll be reevaluated in about a week. Hopefully he misses 7 to 10 days max, gets back on the court, we all move forward. But I think what's being treated as the biggest issue by a lot of people, whether I've heard it talked about on 710, Stephen A. Smith, certainly people hitting me up on Twitter or on the Locked On Lakers YouTube page, Bronny James getting a very rare call to play anything other than garbage minutes, or frankly to play at all. Like Bronny has played a grand total of 44 minutes counting last night. I mean, he's usually not even active. But last night in the first quarter, Bronny James had his number called, and the results were not good. He played 4.5 first half minutes, 0-1 from the field, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, -9 in less than 5 minutes. He finished the game 0 points, 0 from the field, 0 from behind the arc, 3 rebounds, but also 3 turnovers in about 15.5 minutes. Got lit up by Tyrese Maxey, though, to be fair, he had a lot of company. Afterwards, J.J. Redick, talking about this, acknowledged that he may have put Bronny in a bit of a tough spot. You know, it's a nationally televised game. He just got called up. But he has been playing well with the G League, has been looking good of late, and was hoping to try to just provide a bit of spark, a bit of energy. I would say kind of a curveball in this game. Also, too, I think it goes without Redick saying it, but it was important, somebody who could handle the ball at all, at least in theory, because the Lakers are down on those players right now with no Gabe Vincent, no Jalen Hood-Schifino, Jared Vanderbilt, who can sometimes do this in a pinch if you need him to. He was out last night because it was the second end of a back-to-back, so they're managing the foot injury. This was not a surprise, and Shake Milton, by the way, has been really bad in January. Like, Shake Milton has been basically unplayable. For those unaware, he has not made a basket since January 2nd. Like, his minutes have dropped precipitously. He has been really bad on both sides of the ball. So JJ was basically out of options. And I tweeted out, you can find this on my timeline, at Cam Brothers, on the 28th before the Hornets game. I wouldn't be shocked to see Bronny get some minutes, given all of the different things that I talked about now, the options are low. And the parameters to me seem pretty obvious for this. Like, I wasn't predicting that he would play, but it wasn't shocking to me. And other than maybe giving Cam Reddish an opportunity just as a defensive presence on Maxey, defensive disruptor, maybe could have gone there, but Cam is a pretty shaky ball handler. He's a shaky scorer, and JJ has given Cam plenty of opportunities. Cam was starting at one point, and it didn't work. He's been out of the rotation for a while. This was JJ Redick working way the hell outside of the box because he was forced to. And, like, it's JJ's call. He's got to own it. But this was not the reason the Lakers lost, Bronny being on the court. It didn't help, like, make it clear. It didn't help at all. But I am really stunned at how many people are misreading the reason that Bronny was on the court, treating this like it's part of the LeBron-Bronny storyline. Like, ooh, it's a nationally televised game. Get your popcorn ready. Bronny's going to be out on the court. Or, you know, you're rewarding Bronny for having good practices or good G League games, like the type of reward that no other G League player would ever get in this type of setting. Like, I'm sure it helped that Bronny's played well, but this was not a reward for Bronny playing well in the G League. Like, he was not getting a present from JJ Redick. Like, and it sure as hell, because I've seen people imply this too, including, respectfully, Stephen A., that this was LeBron putting pressure on JJ Redick. Put my kid on the court, or like LeBron being dissatisfied about the roster right now. You know, it's very clear he wants help. So let's try to calm down LeBron a little bit by putting his kid on the court. Folks, this was JJ Redick throwing crap at the wall and hoping that it stuck, because the game was already starting to fall apart without Anthony Davis. You're missing half your roster. You're missing, in particular, half of the guys that you would look to handle the ball at all. You can't play LeBron 48 minutes on the second end of a back-to-back. Austin Reeves played a lot of minutes against the Hornets too. Like, you need to try something. And if you want to say that the something should have been Cam Reddish, okay, I am open to that. But bear in mind, because I've heard from a lot of Laker fans this season, before last night, none of y'all wanted Cam Reddish on the floor. You know how I know this? Because y'all were complaining to me that JJ Redick was playing Cam Reddish in the first place. You're wondering why Cam's even on this roster and complaining that it's only a clutch thing, that he got a player option and that he still has a guaranteed contract with the Lakers. Like, I'm telling you, this was not an ulterior motive thing. Like, this was not... Bronny is on this team because he's LeBron's son. Like, we can all agree with this. Like, nobody would claim otherwise. But he did not play last night because he's LeBron's son. If it turns out I'm wrong, like reporting comes out that this was somehow related to a LeBron pressure campaign, the politics of clutch, whatever, I will own it. Like, DeAndre, Funchy, you're my witnesses. I will dedicate a future two segments of Lakers talk to just callers being able to call in and make fun of me for being wrong. This is a promise.
I'll be one of them, too.
Yes, I got two witnesses here. You know, if you can get Stephen A. on to yell at me. First of all, I'd be honored. That would be incredible theater. To be yelled at by Stephen A., like, I would honestly be quite flattered. But, like, I am really confident that this had nothing to do with LeBron or clutch politics or trying to jazz up a nationally televised game or anything like that. It was JJ Redick acting out of desperation. If you want to say that he pushed the wrong button in desperation, fine. It clearly wasn't the right one. If you want to be upset at the Lakers front office that they are even in a position that Bronny became the push button in case of emergency, deep-ass emergency option. Like, okay, like, those are all fair things. But the reason Bronny was on the court was really obvious. Like, if you've been watching this team all season, and then especially if you know who's not available, and it's a second end of a back-to-back, I saw the possibility of Bronny playing. If I saw the possibility of it, it couldn't be that big of a curveball. Like the only thing I would potentially criticize JJ for with Bronny said after the game that getting called up kind of took him by surprise, like he was not expecting that, which means that it's possible, possible, that Bronny was not made aware before the game, hey, there's a non-0% chance you're going to play tonight. Like, I want you to be ready for that. If JJ did not prepare Bronny for the chance that he might play last night, that's a mistake on JJ. Like,
could you predict Friday's Powerball numbers for me?
You know what? I've never done a lottery in my life. I have. I love
five numbers. Just give me 5 numbers.
5 numbers. I'm gonna go 31, 72, 77, 11, and then 9. Bronny's numbering it because that's what caused this whole chaos in the first place.
Love it.
Now, also too, we got a lot of witnesses. If Funchie's lottery hits, I get at least a slice.
You do.
Piece.
You get a slice.
So does DeAndre. Just for his trouble.
I want something too.
You get a little sliver.
Just for your trouble, DeAndre, you get a little bit as well. So again, there are a lot of reasons to be unhappy with certainly the time Bronny spent on the court, but the idea that there's anything deeper to it other than J.J. Redick was just out of options and just trying anything, trust me, you are reading way too deep into this. Coming up next, though, we can talk with, maybe if we want to get into this, or other things LeBron, other things Clutch, other things Anthony Davis. Going to talk with Dave McMenamin from ESPN, one of the best in the league at covering the Lakers. That's coming up. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA 710.
You never expect a Hail Mary pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend
Hey guys,
you.
Mina Kimes, host of the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny, here to tell you about a live podcast taping I am doing in Los Angeles Monday, February 3rd, right before the Super Bowl. I am joined by Greg Rosenthal, Jordan Rodriguez, Chris Ryan, Andy Greenwald, and the Rams' own Kobe Turner. 100% of your ticket proceeds go to wildfire relief here in Los Angeles. Check it out, minapodlive.com.
Your entire purchase. Books makes it simple. Choose the Quickie Book. With the click of a button, get their best-selling bouquet right on time for Valentine's Day. It's the Quickie she'll brag about for weeks. Or pick from their collection of unique modern designs or go to their flower subscription, the #1 husband life hack, and be the hero every month. You can't go wrong. Books, not just flowers. They're flowers that are cut fresh where they grow the best so you get bigger, brighter blooms that last longer. She will be blown away by how stunning they are. Valentine's Day, February 14th, right after the big game, so don't fumble the flowers. Get your order in now. Go to Books.com, use my promo code ESPN for 25% off. That's BOUQS.com, promo code ESPN. Books, promo code ESPN.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text YOUTH to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text YOUTH to 42424. That's YOUTH to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you ready for a party? Oh, party! This Saturday at Cosm, Los Angeles. It's the Michelob Ultra official Lakers watch party. Join Beto Durant broadcasting live for Lakers pre, half, and post. A Lakers photo op with the championship trophy and experience watching Lakers Knicks tip off at 5:30 p.m. and feel like you're at MSG. That's Saturday at Cosm LA. Go to ESPNLA.com. Click on the Michelob Ultra graphic and register to reserve your spot with ESPN LA.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky on 710 ESPN.
LeBron dropped 31 points in Philly last night, but it wasn't enough as the Sixers dominated the Lakers.
You look at all sports. I mean, when you make mistakes, the teams usually make you pay. We just can't make mistake after mistake after mistake. And I think tonight we just compound too many mistakes in a row. So it was hard to come back from that.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetsky.
I know who this is, and I'm blanking. I know. I want to do something too. I know who is it.
That is the song.
I'm blanking on the artist. Is it? It's not Teddy Pendergrass. Who is it?
Leon Haywood.
Leon Haywood. Okay. A little bit obscure. Obviously, this is made famous through The Chronic, the smash Dr. Dre hit. Snoop and Dr. Dre together, and we are looking to get a hold of Dave McMenamin, and
we got him.
He is joining right now, covers the Lakers for ESPN. He's got a really interesting piece up right now you can find on the site about LeBron James and Randy Mims, their relationship. Mims being everything from a chief of staff for all things LeBron James to a trusted friend. Also, Dave and board op DeAndre Hawkins are distracted at the moment because they are envisioning ways their beloved Eagles can take down the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
McMenamin is with you there, DeAndre, but he's still kind enough to give me some time. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. I'm fretting the big day because the Eagles have the better team across the board, but Chiefs has a better quarterback, better coach. So it's like, how do you win? Those are pretty important positions in an NFL football team, the quarterback and the head coach.
Well,
but the Eagles kind of have everything else.
I wouldn't go to Josh Allen for advice because clearly he has not figured it out. That poor guy, man. That's brutal. I want to get into this piece about Mims and LeBron in a second, but I wanted to address first a couple housekeeping issues on the court. First of all, because I just went into a long, extended rant to people questioning whether Bronny being on the court last night had anything to do with JJ just being out of options. I'm sure you've seen the speculating that this was in some way meant to appease LeBron or clutch politics or whatever. I'm correct, right? It was about JJ running out of options.
Listen, anyone watch the Charlotte game?
Yes.
Anyone see Shake Milton play in that game?
Yes. Thank you.
He didn't look like a viable option to go with Gabe Vincent out. Playing on the second night of back-to-back. Bronny, 4 days removed from a wonderful game in the G League. We all recognize the NBA is not the G League. It was rolling the dice. He went for it. JJ owned it, thought it was a bad position to put Bronny in. He hadn't played meaningful minutes in like 40 games. So it was a big moment. It didn't work. Guess what? The Lakers lost the game because Anthony Davis hurt his ab.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to do with the 15 minutes that Bronny James played. He didn't help them in those 15 minutes. They lost the game because they had won the previous 4 games with Anthony Davis scoring 33 points on 60% shooting with 15 rebounds and 2.5 blocks per game. And they had lost in 10 minutes into the game, and they were in scramble mode. And Philly took advantage of it. And Philly was a hurt team with Joel Embiid out and Paul George out and guys like Ricky Council IV licking their chops, looking to feel good for a night. That's all it was.
Okay, so everybody now, you can shut the hell up if you're complaining. Like, Dave put this to rest. You mentioned, obviously, AD and the ab strain. The Lakers said that he's going to be reevaluated in a week. Hopefully 7-10 days he can get back on the court, fingers crossed. But that is going to take us up to the trade deadline. What effect, if any, do you think AD's situation will have on what the Lakers do at the deadline?
I don't know the answer to that question. In my opinion, it should have nothing to do with their strategy heading into the trade deadline. I mean, if Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss had been paying attention or listening, they would have seen on ESPN's airwaves Shams Charania sitting down with Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis saying that, hey, we need a big man. And now Anthony Davis being out of the lineup only makes that point clearer and louder. Listen, everyone, even non-front office people, they can see going into this year that the Lakers roster didn't have a dominant big. It certainly didn't have two bigs that were in the mold of the team that won in 2020. And so if you want buy-in from your two leaders as one of the architects of that 2020 team, if you remember back in the day, Rob Pelinka very purposely told reporters and used terminology of LeBron and AD both being stakeholders in his decision-making process. So those stakeholders signed off on a roster construction with two bigs alongside Anthony Davis to help you win a championship. You might want to go back to that. It's not been a secret. Before Anthony Davis said it right out of his own two lips on our airwaves, I reported repeatedly that this is what Anthony Davis has wanted, a return to that type of big next to him. So they should be going and getting the big. Okay. And they should also feel fortunate that Anthony Davis' injury doesn't sound too serious, that he'll be back within 7 to 10 days to play with that another big.
Okay, well, that's very direct. Talking with Dave McMenamin, covers the Lakers for ESPN, also a diehard Eagles fan. AD, like you said, he's been vocal about wanting a center. But do you think he, and I guess by extension LeBron, they are the two major shareholders, do you think they would be happy if there are moves made, just like independent of the actual position? If the Lakers look to make the roster better, even if it's not necessarily in the middle?
I don't think so. I think it would really just depend on the moves.
Okay.
Moves that were made. I think both of those guys were in favor of the move that Rob Pelinka already did 39 days before the trade deadline, a striking deal with Brooklyn to get Dorian Finney-Smith. That was met with approval.
Right.
But it wasn't met with now we should be finished and this roster has everything it needs. So it's a wait and see scenario as we head into this next week. And listen, there's going to be a lot of sellers out there. Like there's going to be. Cooper Flag is not just a very good basketball player. He's a very good basketball player that most likely will be able to have whatever franchise that drafts him sell season tickets and put butts in the seats. There's going to be a lot of people entering that sweepstakes by trying to rid themselves of useful players so they can be a team that doesn't win a lot down the stretch. And so there will be pieces to be had. And even let's say, it would be irresponsible of Rob Pelinka to trade 2 future firsts in this trade cycle. Okay. There's a lot to be done with 1 future first. There's a lot to be done with 2 second-round picks. They got the Dorian Finney-Smith done deal without a first-round pick. And so I know Anthony Davis and LeBron James are both in favor of the front office continuing to look for ways to help this team, but I also don't think they would just sign off on any deal. We've seen some deals. Mike Muscala, we saw that deal back in 2019. That didn't move the needle.
That's one that Rob will always remind you, hey, Magic was calling the shots then. I was second in command behind Magic. Talking with Dave McMenamin, covers the Lakers for ESPN. You asked JJ, I thought, a really interesting question after the Sixers loss, noting LeBron's turnovers have been up of late. He had 8 against Philly, 5 or more in 6 games since mid-January, and whether there are any commonalities in those turnovers between now and the last time LeBron struggled with turnovers, which eventually led to him taking a 9-day break from the team, missed a couple of games. JJ didn't really acknowledge that part of the question, really answer it directly, but I guess I'm curious, do you think that we could be reaching a place where, I don't know if LeBron can take another 9 games off, but where really monitoring LeBron is becoming a thing again?
I don't.
Okay.
Like the Lakers won 6 out of 7 games with LeBron on the court, 3-4 last night. Did we already forget that? Like, isn't that the goal, is to win? So, no, I don't think we're anywhere close to that.
Okay. I just thought it was an interesting linking of those 2 periods. So I was just.
Oh, the linking to me was just like LeBron. Perhaps his approach last night could have mirrored his approach prior to that in the single night, and which was not having the intentionality that he's basically had since that break. Okay. It's not something that it's fair question. When I was asking it, I wasn't trying to then extend it to Washington or New York City or the Clippers or the Warriors coming up.
Speaking of LeBron, though, the piece that you wrote about LeBron and Randy Mims, who, again, I think people should check this piece out. It's on ESPN.com. It's a really interesting look at LeBron, sort of like LeBron Inc., and you described Randy Mims as the chief of staff, the hub connecting various ventures in James' vast portfolio, now in his 3rd decade as the man behind the man. What do you think makes Mims so critical for LeBron's success on and off the court? Because it can't be emphasized enough. Like, he is in the most inner of circles for LeBron.
So, yeah, I thought a lot about this in the course of my reporting, and thanks for your text and thanks for what you mentioned about it on the show tonight. To me, what's allowed Mims to be good at the job and LeBron to be great at his job is Randy's full willingness to take on everything that possibly could distract LeBron from the process that he trusts and he needs to be great at basketball. And so it's taking on like a ton of menial type of stuff, especially early on in LeBron's career when it's really just Randy and him on a day-to-day basis, where it's everything from making sure that there's a meal waiting for LeBron in a to-go bag after a practice to making sure that LeBron's arriving to a commercial shoot on time and has all the printed out scripts that you can read in the back of the car on the way there so he doesn't get out the car and seem like he's unprepared and the people question their investment as him as a pitch man. To LeBron, he was supposed to wear this special pair of Nikes tonight because that's what the schedule says for his sneaker launch, and it got sent to the Cavs practice facility versus the Cavs arena, and so he has to go drive the practice facility 20 minutes before tip. Like, those are the type of things he did. And then as LeBron was so great at basketball and more opportunities came his way, they were able to hire more people to take care of some of the other stuff. And Randy then could concentrate on taking pitch meetings or, there was a person I interviewed for the story. It didn't make the final cut, but John Elliott is a clothing designer. Randy became aware of John's stuff. He thought like his leisure wear kind of line would be something that LeBron would appreciate. John was showing his collection at the 2015 All-Star game in New York City. Randy convinced John to rent a U-Haul, put his whole collection in it, drive to Cleveland so LeBron could see all of his stuff in person. In 2018, the first ever lifestyle sneaker in the LeBron James Nike line comes out with John Elliott as a collaborator. All of that happened because Randy Mims put it together. And so it's kind of that attention to detail that he has. It's the understanding of the rooms that LeBron walks into, it reminds me a little bit of the assistant character that Tony Hale plays in Veep, where, he's whispering in LeBron's ear, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Like, he retains all that knowledge. So then LeBron can, be the superstar that he is. And the ultimate factor is the trust.
Right.
Randy has known LeBron since he was 14 years old. LeBron fully trusts that Randy will always put his best interests in mind. And, how many guys have we seen when they're retired, they're suing people like Randy Mims because they've been siphoning money from the pot for years?
Yeah, I know we've both spoken with athletes about this personally beyond, just the stories that you hear, talking with Dave McMenamin from ESPN.com. ESPN covers the Lakers, talking with him about a story that he wrote about LeBron and Randy Mims, one of the truly inner circle guys for LeBron. The story opens with LeBron reaching out in the middle of the night to Randy Mims in Miami during that first season, basically bearing his soul to Mims, wondering if he made the right decision to join the Heat, like second-guessing himself. Randy Mims and him talked through a lot, and it was described by Maverick Carter as a pivot point in his career. There's also a really interesting quote in there from Rich Paul where he says, Randy's not there feeding LeBron BS information. He's not there trying to take advantage of his vulnerability. He's there to be a rock. He's there to be a sounding board. He's also there to give pushback when LeBron's wrong. And that was interesting to me because LeBron, he's obviously really accomplished, but he's really smart. And not just basketball smart, he's smart. And how hard do you think it can be to convince someone like LeBron you're occasionally wrong? And what does it take to be the person that can break through to somebody like LeBron, who, again, is really successful, but also just really smart?
Yeah, I wondered about that. I think some of it is the fact that Randy's almost 10 years older than LeBron, so he's just lived more life, and there's a wisdom there that just comes from the experience, and I think LeBron recognizes that. Some of it is, while LeBron may have been living a jet-setting life for 25 years now, Randy still, he can live the everyman. He can go to the grocery store without getting recognized, pump his own gas, whatever the cliche you want to use. But by being in those spaces, he has a better kind of realistic sense of what the world is. And while LeBron might not be able to experience that himself all the time, having someone like Randy around him grounds him. And so, of course, sometimes LeBron is tone deaf. Sometimes LeBron comes off like someone who doesn't quite get it. But there's been plenty of times where you would say LeBron James compared to other, in essence, child actors who are in the public eye for multiple decades is far more humanized and approachable than someone who would be considered a peer. And a lot of that has to do, was Randy's influence, Randy's continued influence.
Yeah, it's, again, you can find this on ESPN.com. I will tweet it out at Cam Brothers. It's a really interesting look at not just Randy Mims, but also just the way the inner circles work, and again, LeBron Incorporated, when you're talking about somebody that successful and that powerful, the machinations of it. I just found it really, really interesting. Dave McMenamin covers the Lakers. Great coverage, ESPN. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
Anytime, Andy. Great to talk.
All right, that was Dave McMenamin. Again, I will tweet out that piece at Cam Brothers if you want to read it. 877-710-ESPN. If you want to react, I'm seeing a great quote right now on the Lakers Talk YouTube page from William Batzel. It's like Denzel in American Gangster at the beginning. People at that stage need that person. Yeah, especially when you are younger, less experienced, more vulnerable, you need some, but you feel like, or others feel like, you are destined for greatness and power. You need somebody that can help guide you and keep you in check. So if you want to react to that, 877-710-ESPN. If you are holding, I will get to you next. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
The California wildfires have devastated communities and displaced families across the state. Autism Speaks recognizes how overwhelming this time could be, particularly for people in the autism community and those committed to offering support. Resources are available at autismspeaks.org to assist with coping strategies and connect you to local support. For immediate assistance, the Autism Response Team can be reached at 888-AUTISM-2. That's 888-288-4762. Spanish-speaking support also available, 888-772-9050, or via email at ayuda, AYUDA, at autismspeaks.org. As the father of an autistic child, I know these are challenging times, but you're not alone. Autism Speaks stands with those affected every step of the way.
So Mark Reel from Real Fathers writes, I always say on the air, you have to have the right family law firm that is going to get you the happiness you deserve and the justice you deserve.
Really, the legal system is designed and set up for fathers to fail. I set out to create a firm and to create something that would help all men navigate that successfully.
We have a new phone number for Real Fathers Rights.
833-ESPN-710.
And RFR710.com.
Yes, RFR710.com.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Lakers talk continues on 710 ESPN.
After the loss in Philly last night, Austin Reeves and the Lakers take the Grammy road trip to the nation's capital tomorrow night, and then Madison Square Garden on Saturday.
Go win both games. That's always the main goal. Every time we step on the court is to win, and that doesn't change just because we had a bad loss here. Go win.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky right now.
This is obviously the sample for Mama Said Knock You Out. The
Yes,
LL
sir.
Cool J.
Yes, sir. But who is it?
I have not.
This is one of your bands, too. We talked about
hear
this
it.
band
Let me
within the
hear it.
last week.
It's not the OJs.
No.
It's not the Meters.
Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, it's Sly. This is Sly.
Yes, sir.
Oh, speaking of which, I cannot wait to see. Questlove has a documentary coming out about Sly and the Family Stone that looks awesome. His last documentary, which I believe he won an Oscar for.
It's like the Summer
of Soul.
Yeah,
it
a concert.
is awesome. This documentary is so good. It's about this, I want to say like either late 60s, early 70s concert in Harlem that the footage had been disappeared for decades. And then I think the rights were being held and you couldn't access it. So this amazing, amazing bill with, I think, like Sly and the Family Stone, I think like Nina Simone, all these great, great artists. Everybody forgot this thing even happened, and it is awesome. He also, too, Questlove did a documentary about the 50 years of SNL.
Yeah,
the
I saw that.
musical
Yes.
That I've also heard.
But I
is
can't
really
wait for
good.
this because Sly Stone is like in the enigma, basically a mystery.
Oh, yeah, dude. Sly Stone is one of those incredibly talented people that the persona overshadows the talent. And it's kind of like Rick James was like that. Like, Rick James became this legend in persona. Rick James was a
but he didn't disappear off the face of the earth, though.
No, but he was busy doing a lot of things that took him
That's
underground.
right.
If you
That's
understand
right.
what I mean,
I know.
You know, like Rick James was like that. Someone else I was thinking of too, like D'Angelo.
Oh yeah,
late '90s, early 2000s.
Yes, he's been disappeared.
Monster talent, but drugs and other stuff, like he kind of fell off because the trappings of fame, and one of the things I know they get into in the Sly doc is Sly was like one of the first black artists to be dealing with that level of fame and the scrutiny that can be different for a black artist dealing with that type of fame, that type of success, power, all the other stuff that comes with it, being different than a lot of artists before him. So which album is that on, by the way? What's the name of that? Which album?
I got to find what album. But
in the meantime, though, before we go, let me quickly talk to my girl, Robbie, in East Long Beach. Lakers Talk. How are you, Robbie?
Hey, Andy. Hey, DeAndre. Hey, Funches. Here's the deal. Because of the Anthony Davis injury, in my opinion, I think maybe if they can't go after De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings, here's my picks of potential. I got maybe DeMar DeRozan, Miles Turner, and then maybe Lauri Markkanen or John Collins as potential fits for the Lakers. And maybe then we'll have a very good run by the second half, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let's go Lakers. And I will feel good if maybe, just maybe, they'll beat the Clippers with any of those players if possible, if they go after them.
Okay.
Thank you for taking my call.
For you, Robbie, always. Unfortunately, Lauri Markkanen is not eligible to be traded because of when his extension was signed this offseason with Utah. Like, he cannot be traded. Miles Turner, I would love it if he is available. I don't see why the Pacers, unless they just don't want to commit to him this offseason because he is an impending free agent, the Pacers are doing really well right now. Like, they've started to pick it up after a really slow start. Last year, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Pacers, as an organization, they rarely, if ever, rebuild. So I would be surprised if Miles Turner was available. If he was, I'd love for them to get him, the Lakers. It just would be ironic because it's like 2 years late after they could have gotten him. De'Aaron Fox, I would also love, but reportedly he's not crazy about going to the Lakers. I don't think it's off the table.
He's not interested in the Lakers.
He's not as interested. Like, he reportedly wants to go to San Antonio, which, by the way, I've been saying for a while that I think Wemby would be the guy that could bring free agents to San Antonio. That and the fact that it's a new world now. You don't have to be in a big market to be seen. Like, this is no longer, 2000 when even Tim Duncan in San Antonio couldn't bring in free agents. Different world now. But I've actually been thinking for a while that Wemby could turn San Antonio into a place where free agents want to go, or maybe players even request a trade too. We shall see with De'Aaron Fox. DeMar DeRozan, nah, pass. I'd pass on that. Plus, also, it seems like it's never DeMar's destination to get traded to the Lakers. Or sign as a free agent.
No offense, I love DeMar DeRozan, love his game, but he would not be a great fit for this Lakers team.
No, I don't think he really helps with a lot of their most. I mean, they could use some more shot creation, they could use some more scoring, but they need to get younger. They need to be more athletic. They need some more defense. I don't love the DeRozan fit. So, but Miles Turner's available. I would absolutely be all over that. Coming up next, want to get into more about Anthony Davis and his time away from the Lakers. Also want to get into, because there's been a lot of bad bleep happening with the Lakers, I want to get into a few positives that have happened of late. So we're getting into that coming up. Anthony Irwin in about 15 minutes from Clutch Points, Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Next Gen is the official plumbing, heating, and AC company of SoCal sports fans. Right now, ESPN LA listeners can book a drain cleaning for just $88. That's right, just $88, and you can keep your plumbing in top shape and ensure you're game day ready. So don't miss out. Call 833-3-NEXTGEN today to take advantage of this limited time offer. That's 833-3-NEXGEN or visit nextgenaironplumbing.com to schedule your $88 drain cleaning appointment today.
NEXGEN, call 833-3-NEXTGEN.
Hey, it's Mace. Fire survivors have a long road to recovery. The Center for Disaster Philanthropy, CDP, helps communities most in need rebuild stronger after fires and other disasters. Join us as we help to support the long-term recovery needs through CDP's California Fire Recovery Fund. Together, we can support vital programs that address housing, mental health, livelihood initiatives, and environmental restoration. For information, visit disasterphilanthropy.org/ESPN.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED. But HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A Good Karma Brands radio station. 710 ESPN. The radio home of the purple and gold.
The Lakers took their 4-game unbeaten streak into Philly last night, but fell to the Sixers in a lackluster performance.
Ronnie flying to the rim. Step back three, no good. And that'll do it. The Lakers come into Philadelphia and get blown out.
JJ Redick was still able to give Bronny James quality minutes in the losing effort.
He didn't play well, but he's been playing great, you know, in the stay-ready games, and he's been playing great in the G. So I have confidence in him, but obviously didn't provide that at a high level.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetsky.
Reminder, we're going to be joined by Anthony Irwin, Lakers scene reporter, for Clutch Points in about, 12, 13 minutes, something like that. Going to break down some of the Lakers' options, particularly among big men, heading into the trade deadline and how much the Lakers actually are going to be pursuing centers in the first place. We know that that's what Anthony Davis wants. Dave McMenamin, about a half hour or so ago, reiterated that is definitely what AD wants. Sounds even like it might be what LeBron wants. So we're going to get into that. I'm laughing right now in the YouTube comment section of Lakers Talk. I'd mentioned that I'm going to get into some positives in this segment, and Juice24 said positives can be a short segment. Come on, Juice, man. I mean, yes, there's no question vibes are down right now. After the Lakers lose last night, 118-104 to the Sixers. Yes, the Lakers lost Anthony Davis during the game. Yes, they were already playing without Gabe Vincent, without Jared Vanderbilt. But at the same time, the Sixers, they were without Joel Embiid. They were without Paul George. They were without Andre Drummond. They were without a guy who could have maybe ended up winning Rookie of the Year, Jared McCain. He had been fantastic this year before getting hurt. They were out both their Martins, whichever the twins, Caleb or Cody, I can't remember. They were missing a lot of dudes, and they ended up losing the game. And to me, this is a game the Lakers still could have had. Obviously, we are waiting to figure out what's going to happen with Anthony Davis, abdominal strain. He is going to be reevaluated publicly, at least in a week. We're going to get an update on the reevaluation. Hopefully this is something that keeps him out maybe 7-10 days at the most. Dave actually said earlier that his sense, there's some internal optimism that AD won't be out that long, which is obviously good. The Lakers are going to have to find a way to play hopefully just 3 or 4 games without Anthony Davis, as I mentioned before. They're at a talent gap without AD. I mean, frankly, they are at a talent gap in some respects with AD. Like, this is something they have acknowledged. They are not a team steeped in a lot of super high-end talent. They don't have a lot of explosive athleticism. They don't have, especially post-D'Lo, they don't have the guy on the team that you necessarily count on to get on a heater from behind the arc. You know, LeBron can still pick his spots to do some amazing things, but you can see the age with him. Austin Reeves is improving, but I don't think he is quite at the level that the Lakers need him to be at as far as like the third best player on a championship or deep contending caliber team. Austin is certainly capable of being an important piece on a good team, but that's not the same thing as third best player. That's like a really high, very specialized level that most players, frankly, can't get to. And I don't think Austin's at that level yet. And everybody knows the weaknesses of this team, and the Lakers are going to have to overcome it, frankly, through execution and focus and energy and playing their asses off and taking care of the little things as well as the big things. And that's one of the positives that I do want to get into right now. Jared Vanderbilt has now been back for a couple games. He's still on a minutes limit. He's still playing about 12, maybe 15 minutes max right now. He did not play last night in Philadelphia, second end of a back-to-back. They're looking to monitor his recovery from the injury, ramping him back up. You do not want a setback with Vando. But that said, I think Vando's look really good. And the things that they are looking for from Vanderbilt, whether you're talking about defensive versatility and the guys that he can guard, whether you are talking about disruption in the guys that, disruption in the way that he can mess up what an offense is looking to do, where he can get guys out of character, the rebounding that Vando can help with on both sides, offensive, defensive rebounding. His general energy, there's a physicality that Vando plays with. There's an edge that Vando plays with. It's something that this team, frankly, does not have a lot of. I think they get it to some degree from Dorian Finney-Smith. I think they can sometimes get it from Max Christie, occasionally Jackson Hayes, but Hayes is a very limited player. They need it from somebody like Vanderbilt. And I think Vando being back, you can already see some of the possibilities of what he brings. The other thing is, and it's, I think, flown under the radar, but it's potentially important, Dalton Knecht is starting to hit shots again. Dalton Knecht had 24 points last night, and even if you want to acknowledge that there was some fourth quarter garbage time mixed in there, there was also 3 quarters of non-garbage time. And Dalton Knecht, 24 points last night, 8 of 13 from the field, 5 of 8 from behind the arc. Against Charlotte, he missed the only 3 that he took. But then against Golden State Saturday, 3 of 7. Against Boston, big game at the Crypt, 3 of 4 from behind the arc. 1 of 2 against the Wizards, 2 of 3 against the Clippers. He shot 16% from behind the arc in December and started out January shooting, I believe, in the 20s from behind the arc. He is about to close January hopefully at about 40%. If he has one more game like he's been shooting of late, he's going to close January probably 40% from behind the arc. His overall field goal percentage has been improving of late as well. He's shooting 46% from the field, his best number since November. Dalton Knecht rediscovering that shot, the ability to get the ball, put it on the floor, get to the hoop. This is something the Lakers have really been missing, particularly off the bench. Like this is a dynamic that this team needs desperately. I think it could be helped more if JJ decided to flip Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith in the lineup, start DFS, play Rui off the bench. Then all of a sudden you've got Rui and Dalton Knecht as potential 6th and 7th men, guys that you look for primarily to score. And you have a little bit more balance in terms of when LeBron is in the game or out of the game, when Austin Reeves is in the game or out of the game. You have some more scoring balance. And with Dalton Knecht, there are obviously some limitations. He is going to be targeted defensively a lot. We see it all the time. But if he's capable of scoring, that can keep Dalton on the floor. And I think if Dalton can be on the floor, we saw earlier in the season how much different the offense looked with Knecht being somebody that you can put out there, particularly when he gets on one of those heaters. It's flown under the radar because there's been a lot happening with the team. You know, a lot of talk about the deadline, a lot of talk about what LeBron wants, what Anthony Davis very loudly wants. Now the injury to Anthony Davis. But if you are looking for some positives, again, I think Vando, the way he's looked, albeit in limited minutes, that's been a positive. And Dalton Knecht starting to make shots again, I think is a really big deal for this team. We can talk about that and other stuff with Anthony Irwin from Clutch Points, Lakers senior reporter. He's also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. He is going to be joining me next. Andy Kamenetsky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA.
Hey, everybody. Excited to have with me in studio the one and only Dr. Monica Madden from Beverly Hills Ortho. Hi, Dr. Madden.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
All right. Let's get to why we want everybody to listen carefully, because you have a special offer for ESPN LA listeners. Tell me about it.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am from Silmar, California, and I just want to say thank you to all the firefighters for everything that you've done. You are so brave, so just amazing and brave, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
You know, I want to thank them. You know, without them, the fire wouldn't be the way it is right now. You know, little help like you guys asked for. You know, I got a few bobbleheads, a few jerseys, a few shirts that are brand new, and some baseball cards.
Thank you so much for the first responders and for the firefighters that are helping the community and the people of California, and especially Los Angeles. And thank you so much for your work, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the real heroes.
My name's Alfredo Famath, and I'm from Silmar, right next to the Hearst fire. We got evacuated, but I really want to thank the firefighters for saving my house and my friends' houses. You know, I appreciate you guys, and without you guys, I don't know where we'd be at, you know, probably without a home, but I really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
What's up, everybody? Cappy here, InsideCrypto.com, and I just want to take a second to thank all the first responders, the firefighters, but I'm going to take another direction here. I was talking about it on the air. Our friends at Lazy Dog and LA Live have been feeding all these firefighters. I'm going to send a shout out to all the wait staff who are feeding the firefighters, who can then feel good, be nourished, go to sleep, and then get out there and fight those fires. So to everybody that's helping, appreciate all y'all.
Hey, Henry Ramos here from El Monte. Hey, first responders, thank you for everything you guys are doing, and keep fighting on. And this is for Los Angeles. Thank you guys, and keep going. We love you, LA.
On LA's mega sports station, 710 ESPN.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Rocky to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text ROCKY to 42424. That's Rocky to 42424.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
Although the Lakers snapped their 4-game winning streak in Philly last night, it was good to see Bronny James pick up extended minutes with the purple and gold.
Just bringing energy. That's what my coaches have been telling me. Just come and play smart, play my game, and play for my teammates. That's all. Just trying to do the right thing as a rookie is my main priority. So just going out there and trying to play right.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky.
I don't want to keep Anthony waiting, so who is this?
JB's again.
JB's again. Okay,
Yes.
now that little squeal, I'm about to keep Anthony waiting. That little squeal, that sounded like something that Public Enemy sampled along the way.
Public Animal. Yes.
That sounds like something. Like that
Public
squeal,
Enemy, yes.
That squeal has been there.
Rebel Without a Pause.
Yep. Oh God, That's from Rebel Without a Pause.
Rebel
This is the
Without a
sample.
Pause, yes.
Okay, I knew it. That whole album, the whole album with Rebel Without a Pause is so good. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA 710. We are going to be talking with Anthony Irwin from Clutch Points. He is their senior reporter covering the Lakers. He is also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. He's got a new episode up now with the great Jason Timpf. So that is worth your time. Anthony, how are you, man?
I'm hanging. Thank you very much for having me, Andy.
No, absolutely, man. You've been doing a lot of reporting of late over for Clutch Points about the Lakers' need for a center, the potential options for a center, whether the pie in the sky guys or the realistic ones. Before we get into some of those details, though, how much do you think AD potentially, hopefully only missing like a week or 10 days, but it's going to bleed into the trade deadline. How much do you think that will shape the Lakers process, like in terms of what they do or don't do with the deadline?
I don't think it really changes much, to be completely honest. If it was, last night I thought it was really interesting. You had LeBron saying to reporters that he didn't think AD was going to miss a bunch of time, that he said he was going to be okay, and the tenor coming out of the locker room was pretty optimistic that AD would be okay, and then they went with the MRI, and I think in this case, no news is good news in that we heard that he's just going to be reevaluated in a week or so. So a week out of a season, it's annoying, and we get to watch a whole bunch of Jackson Hayes, but I don't think it affects their approach to the deadline.
I agree with you. It shouldn't, particularly if they're thinking it's only going to be a week or 10 days. Like that shouldn't alter much unless you're looking for a reason not to do something, which I guess would be a different story. Anthony Davis has made it pretty clear that he thinks center should be the number one priority, but I don't personally think that automatically means the Lakers should make it the number one priority. As Don Draper said, that's what the money's for. Wait, what's your take on this? Do you think the center should be the number one priority for the Lakers?
Number one priority, probably not. As much as I really liked what Max has been doing this year, you could make a real argument that Max Christie's ascent has really turned around the season. He stepped into that starting role and has been fantastic in it. But you're still, if the Lakers have postseason intentions, he's your only perimeter defender who can guard shooting guards or quicker small forwards. And that makes me pretty nervous that you have a 21-year-old holding such an important role in the Western Conference when you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the conference, you have Kyrie Irving in the conference, you have any number of great guards that he would have to go out and defend. But then on top of it, he would have to also knock down shots. So I think you got to raise the floor with another shooting guard to kind of help him out and provide yourself another option there. That would be my top priority. But then also, Anthony Davis is very clearly stepping into his own as the cornerstone of the Los Angeles Lakers. And if the first time he steps up and uses his voice for a request, the Lakers basically tell him, sorry, man, we'll give you Jonas, and that's about all we can do, right? The meme of the pawn shop guy, Pawn Stars guy. Like, that's going to be kind of tough. That's a tough way to start out that relationship. So from a pure basketball standpoint, I think shooting guard from an organizational well-being and as you prepare for the post-LeBron era, getting off the right foot with AD might not be the worst thing either.
I mean, Jonas was on the list of LeBron's I'll take a pay
That's
cut
true.
for a guy. I mean,
I probably should use a different example.
You can't have this both ways, man. If he's good enough for LeBron to take a pay cut, he should be good enough to make Anthony Davis happy. Talking with Anthony Irwin, senior Lakers reporter for Clutch Points, also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. We'll get into some of the big men in a second, but you mentioned like shooting guard or essentially wings as a potential upgrade, accentuating what they have with Max Christie. Who do you think would be a realistic target or targets?
Yeah, I think Jason actually brought this guy up, Tim, on the show earlier today. Josh Green out of Charlotte.
Yeah.
He was with Dallas. He was kind of cast aside over the off season. He is still performing pretty well in an otherwise pretty dreary situation there in Charlotte. So that and the fact that he has some postseason experience behind him too.
Yep.
That is intriguing, and he wouldn't be as expensive contract-wise as Bruce Brown. I know the Lakers have been after Bruce Brown now for a couple of years. They have been kicking the tires there to see what it would take to go out and get him. And so he'll probably figure into their internal conversations as you get closer to the deadline. But Green actually is really intriguing. He's a shooting guard, but he's a thicker, quicker shooting guard. So he has the oomph to be able to be physical in ways that I don't think Max quite can right now. And that would be a nice different pitch to throw at players at that position. Say you play like Anthony Edwards in Minnesota.
He's also a better shooter than Bruce Brown. Like Bruce Brown is more obviously experienced. I think Bruce Brown's a better playmaker, but Josh Green's a better shooter, and he can play some defense. I think he would be an interesting guy. That's smart by Jason.
Yeah, I he threw him out there, and it's actually also a type of player that the Lakers should be really looking for. They attempted this with Cam Reddish, where it was a younger player who was at a weird point in his career, and they were going to try to see if they can kind of resuscitate his career. It hasn't quite worked out that way. He's had some stretches where he looks pretty good, but overall it's been pretty meh. But with Green, he's youngish, and he would be, a key cog in the next couple of years as well. One knock on Dorian Finney-Smith, right? He's 31 years old, so you don't know how well he's going to age here moving forward. With Green, he is young enough to play alongside Austin and Max and AD moving forward well beyond this current season.
Talking with Anthony Irwin, covers the Lakers as a senior reporter for Clutch Points. Also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast, Andy Kamenetsky. Lakers Talk, ESPN LA. Like, I got to be honest. I feel like unless you can get like a truly top-end starting level center, obviously I don't mean like Jokic, but like somebody of a Miles Turner level or like a Walker Kessler level, I feel like you got to be really like somebody that could, I think, justify the reconfigurations that are going to become necessary in the rotation for Anthony Davis, moving LeBron more to the wing. You're going to have to figure out a lot on the fly to justify, what it would take to bring in those guys in the first place, to give them the court time that they're going to be expecting. When you've got Anthony Davis and he's the best player at this team and he's one of the best centers in the league, much less one of the best players in the league, I feel like unless that player's up to a certain point, the juice is only worth the squeeze so much. Like, I don't disagree that they need an upgrade over Jackson Hayes, but like to me, somebody like Nick Richards would have been just perfect. because he's an upgrade over Hayes. He's somebody that you could occasionally play next to AD, but he's perfectly suited for a 15, 18-minute backup role, and that's it. And it just feels like everything would remain, I think, pretty well slotted.
Yeah, so basically the story that I've been told over the last few days, so Friday I wrote that big, long piece about all of the Lakers' options at center. I didn't even include Turner because, frankly, I didn't believe that he would be available. I'm still skeptical that he's going to be available. The Indiana Pacers have basically been loosey with the football with Miles Turner down there. It's like, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We didn't do it. We didn't trade him for like a few seasons running now. So I still, though, I reported it last night, shortly after the game. And my thing with Miles Turner and Walker Kessler is that both of those guys can both anchor a lineup with nobody else in the front court. They could be the rim protector, the rim runner, the rebounder, all that stuff. And they can turn around and play alongside Anthony Davis and offer up something different from his skill set. So I really like those guys. Those are the two guys that I would give up top end draft capital for.
Yeah.
And essentially what the Lakers were running into is Vucevic. Chicago is adamant, I'm told, that they want a first rounder for him. And Washington, who I think the Lakers thought that they would be able to get Jonas at any point for a second-round pick.
I think a lot of people, frankly, around the league thought that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so,
in fairness to Rob.
Yeah. When I heard as high as like a protected first rounder for Jonas, and I was like, for who? Are we watching the same guy? I think the Lakers were kind of surprised by both of those guys, and it's kind of like you're at a smoothie store, and you see like the one size smoothie is $10, and then you're like, well, for $12 or $13, I can get a much bigger and better smoothie with some like protein in it. All right, I'm going to go check out that better protein, that better smoothie that might actually be better for me. And I think that's essentially where the Lakers are at. It's like, yeah, it's going to cost more. And yes, trading both of those first rounders is going to be kind of painful. In the case of Turner, it's really risky because you have to turn around and pay the guy right after this season. But I think for the Lakers, where they're kind of sitting is they're essentially thinking to themselves, all right, if we're going to address this, let's really address it. And I do think they would like to utilize their first-round draft capital this deadline. I think they would like to really improve this roster. I actually do believe that they believe in Anthony Davis and LeBron James kind of going for it in a weirdly open Western Conference. It's just that, from where they're sitting, like, I don't think Kessler is honestly available. I've never
bought the idea that he could be like that. Has felt to me like carryover from last season. We're talking with Anthony Irwin, Lakers senior reporter for Clutch Points, Lakers Lounge podcast host. That to me has always felt like a carryover from last year when Kessler wasn't playing a lot. So maybe it could make sense now. Like, he's perfect for what Utah would be looking. I'd almost consider it a red flag if like a 23-year-old walking double-double who protects the rim, a rebuilding team that, by the way, can never get free agents because they're in Salt Lake flippin' City. If they don't want him, I'm wondering why. There's got to be something.
Well, there was also the clip, I don't know if you caught it, of him and their coach, his head coach. They were watching the Miss America competition. Walker Kessler's girlfriend was competing in it, and he and Will Hardy were watching alongside each other. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I know he was on the outs a little bit last year. He was a little frustrated last year. But you don't get clips like that. Will was legitimately pulling for Walker's girlfriend in that spot. And the other complicating factor, too, is that from Danny Ainge's perspective, the Jazz own draft capital from the Lakers. Yeah. And I've been told very specifically throughout the year that Danny Ainge isn't interested in improving the Lakers roster while Utah has that draft capital. And so on top of Kessler just not really being available to the rest of the league, I've been told he's specifically not available for the Lakers. And I can understand people being skeptical of whether that's just a negotiation tactic publicly and all that stuff. And Kessler's value around the league is definitely going to drop as soon as he gets paid. But you're right. Like, he fits like a glove next to Lauri Markkanen. If they bring in Cooper Flagg, maybe they rethink some stuff there in that front court. But I just don't see Walker Kessler being available in the way that people think so.
Talking with Anthony Irwin, senior Lakers reporter for Clutch Points. He is also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. All right, so we both agree that Turner could be difficult, if not impossible, to get for the Lakers, or you'd have to at least wonder if he's actually available. Kessler, I've never bought that he's available. We've discussed Jonas Valanciunas. Who else do you think could be potentially out there among big men that could be at least somewhat realistic for the Lakers to target?
I know the Lakers really like the idea of Robert Williams. The concern, obviously, there is the health stuff, and their medical staff doesn't exactly engender a whole bunch of confidence in getting somebody like that. They're sitting with, like, Lonzo Ball, right? Like, there's a great story to be written there about Lonzo Ball. I just don't think the Lakers, they are historically very conservative when it comes to players who have injury histories. And then those players who don't have injury histories, in the case of like Jared Vanderbilt, all of a sudden developed one over the last couple of years. So I think the Lakers would like the idea of Robert Williams. I also know that Portland, here's the thing, all of these teams are saying, like, we want a first for this guy, we want a first for this guy, we want a first for this guy. And a lot of that is public posturing a week out from the deadline. These prices are going to drop. So basically, if I were the Lakers, find yourself three. You know, if you're not going to, if Kessler's off the board, if Turner's off the board, find yourself three centers that you really like. And the first center whose price drops below a first rounder and into the multiple second rounder type of price range, jump at the opportunity. Because, and it's like, whether it's Vucevic, whether it's Pirtle, whether it's Time Lord, whether it's Valanciunas, like, none of those guys I would want to give a first round draft compensation for. But as soon as those guys drop into a couple of seconds, and maybe even you're able to move off of like Christian Wood's contract as well, to give you some more leeway under the second apron, that's the kind of opportunity that I think the Lakers should be looking into.
Now, here's where, and last question for you, and this is where I think it gets tricky, Anthony, talking with Anthony Irwin, senior reporter for Clutch Points covering the Lakers, also the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast, is finding the guys to trade out. Like, forget the asset piece of this, like the picks. Someone like Gabe Vincent right now is like strangely completely not expendable because the Lakers are they're so low on ball handlers right now. And to Gabe's credit, he's actually over the last month, I think, played pretty well. But like the last few games have really illustrated, like, if you're looking to match salary, someone like Gabe becomes tricky to trade out unless you have another deal in the works for a ball handling guard or a ball handler, or it's a larger deal including that, because otherwise you're down to basically LeBron and Austin Reeves, and that's just not tenable.
Yeah, I can't believe how, I mean, we knew this was going to happen when they traded D'Angelo Russell. He had that second unit running at a very high level, I thought. And I really think it was a credit to him the way that he accepted that role while he was in it. Then when they traded him and they got back Shake Milton, they were kind of hoping that he would be kind of like the Kirkland signature brand version of that, you know, he could shoot a little bit and he could go out there and create a little bit.
Kirkland Gabe Vincent. What a time to be alive.
Right. But like you've seen what it looks like when Gabe hasn't been in the lineup the last couple of games, right? That bench looked terrible against the Hornets. They let them back into the game. And then the game against Philly was an out-and-out disaster from everybody, but they tried out Bronny, and that didn't go very well because of how poorly Shake played the game prior. So, yeah, I'm with you. They need to address that second unit, ball handling and creation and just initiation, you know. And the one situation I'm keeping an eye on is if San Antonio does trade for De'Aaron Fox and Chris Paul's expiring is used in that trade, does he arrive in Sacramento and say, I want to actually give myself a chance at winning while I still have some juice? He has been fine in San Antonio, clearly taking a step back. He's, at the age where he should have. If the Lakers are able to, remember, they didn't use their exception over the summer.
Right.
So that allows them to offer up a little bit more than other teams would be able to for Chris Paul, depending on how much room they have under the second apron. If they're able to bring in Chris especially after they move Gabe, if they do move him, but even if they don't move Gabe, I do think Chris is a worthwhile addition just to steady the offense. Like, just to go out there and, like, you had that clip where J.J. Redick lost his mind and was ready to go out there and fire the basketball at somebody in Philly.
Yeah. Yes.
He like that wouldn't happen if you had Chris Paul out there organizing the offense. So I do think I'm completely with you. They do need to bring somebody in who can steady the offense with the second unit, could also, fit alongside Austin, alongside LeBron, and very importantly, alongside Anthony Davis. And I think, short of the trade market, you're looking at like Colin Sexton or Malcolm Brogdon or something like that. I think the best case scenario actually is if maybe, just maybe, this is the year Chris Paul's finally a Laker.
I was going to say, then finally Chris Paul becomes a Laker. Finally, LeBron James plays already with Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. He finally plays in the NBA with Chris Paul. The banana boat ring is complete. All of the loops are closed, Anthony Irwin. Appreciate the time, man. You can find Anthony's coverage over at Clutch Points. You can listen to the Lakers Lounge podcast. Thank you very much, man.
Hey, thanks very much, Andy. Anytime.
Cool. All right, coming up, 877-710-ESPN if you want to react to Anthony Irwin and his thoughts on who the Lakers will not, cannot be targeting at the deadline. 877-710-ESPN. Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
NextGen is the official plumbing, heating, and AC company of SoCal sports fans. That's right. NextGen, the absolute best in the biz, with thousands of five-star reviews online to prove it. Looking for game-changing deals on your home? Call NextGen. Right now, ESPN LA listeners can book a drain cleaning for just $88. That's right. For just $88, you can keep your plumbing in top shape and ensure that you're game day ready. So don't miss out. Call 833-NEXGEN today to take advantage of this limited time offer. NextGen is the name you can trust for home comfort and reliability. That's 833-NEXGEN. 833-3NEXTGEN, or visit nextgenaironplumbing.com to schedule your $88 drain cleaning appointment today.
NEXGEN, call 833-3NEXTGEN.
Hey, it's DeMarco. I know a thing or two about Super Bowls. I've been there, won that. If you want to experience the big game like a pro, Absolute Sport has you covered. From premium tickets to exclusive parties to first-class accommodations, their Super Bowl packages are the MVP of the fan experience. Don't sit on the sidelines. Be a part of the action. Go to us.absolute-sport.com. That's ABSOLUT-sport to lock in your spot. Absolute Sport, it's how champions watch the Super Bowl.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you and for a limited time. time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
Are you ready for a party? Oh, party! This Saturday at Cosm Los Angeles. It's the Michelob Ultra official Lakers watch party. Join Beto Durant broadcasting live for Lakers pre, half, and post. A Lakers photo op with the championship trophy and experience watching Lakers Knicks tip off at 5:30 p.m. and feel like you're at MSG. That's Saturday at Cosm LA. Go to ESPNLA.com. Click on the Michelob Ultra graphic and register to reserve your spot with ESPN LA.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetsky on 710 ESPN.
LeBron dropped 31 points in Philly last night, but it wasn't enough as the Sixers dominated the Lakers.
You look at all sports. I mean, when you make mistakes, the teams usually make you pay. We just can't make mistake after mistake after mistake. And I think tonight we just compound too many mistakes in a row. So it was hard to come back from that.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetsky.
Oh, God. I know who this is. They're like I'm going to butcher the name of them, but aren't they like the 106 Watts Band or something
like that? But originally, I think the guy's name is Charles Wright.
Yes, yeah. It's like Charles Wright
in that band, yes.
Right, and like the 106 Watts Band or something. This became the sample for NWA Express Yourself.
Little known fact, Charles Wright is Eric Wright's, a.k.a. Eazy-E's uncle.
Okay, first of all, great trivia. Second of all, explains a lot about how he got the sample cleared.
Exactly.
You're just keeping that money.
I literally just found this out 2 minutes ago, too, so my mind is blown.
Interesting. Eazy-E actually was another one of those guys that the persona overwhelms. Really talented guy.
Yeah, really
super.
Seriously,
talented.
Super talented.
Yeah, like Rick James was a lot like that. Sly Stone was a lot like that. Like, you get these guys that the persona is so bad. Isaac Hayes was a lot like that. Like, everyone remembers Shaft and, like,
that I don't know much about his, personal life or
There is a great documentary. It's on Max. It's like a 5 or 6 part series on the Stax record label in Memphis.
It's at HBO, right?
Yeah, yes. HBO Max. Isaac Hayes was on it. Sam and Dave. Hold on.
Sam and Dave, that's another story.
Yeah. Really, really great documentary. But one of the things that they get into is just you learn how much Isaac Hayes could do, like not just as like a songwriter and as a singer, but as a musician, like as a piano player. I either forgot or never knew that he played sax. He was a really, really good sax player. There's this incredible footage of him in studio, basically as a conductor, conducting these live recordings of Shaft and the orchestra part in the beginning.
And I don't know if you ever saw I'm a Get You Sucker.
Yeah.
But he should have won an Oscar for that.
Well, he also was in, he did the soundtracks for a lot of blaxploitation movies like Truck Turner and some other stuff. Like, incredible talent, but the persona, particularly after Shaft and with like the sunglasses and the gold chains and like
the bald head
and the dripping with sex, like all of that, like he was
the chef from South Park too.
So funny. so funny. So,
reinvented himself too later down the line with the chef.
Yes, he did. Anthony Irwin brought up something, or we were talking about it, interesting. And again, thank you to Anthony for the time. Read his coverage on Clutch Points. Listen to the Lakers Lounge podcast, as well as obviously the Locked On Lakers podcast. We were talking about just the Lakers, the difficult position they're in terms of how do you identify the biggest needs for this team, like the most pressing needs at the deadline, because they have many. They need to, at minimum, upgrade backup center behind Anthony Davis. You can debate the merits back and forth with targeting a center to play alongside AD, moving AD to the 4, which means moving LeBron to the 3, which means reconfiguring a lot. I think the caliber of center has to be pretty high to make that juice worth the squeeze. I understand what AD wants, but sometimes you can't give even superstars everything they want. And, there's that great episode of Mad Men where Don Draper's assistant complains to him that she gives him a lot of ideas that end up getting done and she never gets the credit. And he says, that's what the money's for. And to some degree, that's what the money's for AD. And I'm not trying to dismiss his wants, but you can't always fill all the wants. And you need to upgrade a backup center. They need more two-way help along the perimeter. They need more two-way help along the wing. They could use another ball-handling guard. And how you go about picking up some of these things, like Gabe Vincent's $12 million salary, $11 to $12 million, that contract could be useful if for no other reason than to balance salaries. But then you need another guard. You need to find another guard somewhere, because we've seen over the last 3 or 4 games without Gabe Vincent, they are really low on guys who can handle the ball and facilitate even at a league average level. Like, Gabe Vincent is not a high-end point guard by any stretch. I think he's honestly more of a shooting guard in a point guard's body, but he's been desperately missed. Like, his absence combined with JHS not being available, not really ready either, but not being available. Shake Milton really struggling since arriving. Even somebody like Jared Vanderbilt for now being on a minutes restriction. He's somebody that, if you needed to, could handle the ball in a pinch. Like Dalton Knecht being decent at handling the ball, but you don't want to put all of that on a rookie. That's why Bronny ended up in the game last night. Like, this was not LeBron's influence. This was not nationally televised game. This was not clutch influence. This was J.J. Redick out of ideas, out of options, throwing bleep at the wall, hoping bleep would stick. It didn't, but that is a direct byproduct of Gabe Vincent's absence. So it is Rob Pelinka's own doing that he's in a difficult place. He's the guy running the show. It's his job to figure the way out of the difficult place, but it doesn't change the fact that it is a difficult place. Coming up next, little crunch time. Funchy, as always, is going to lead it. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA.
Hey, it's Bethel Duran. When you get into an auto collision and damage your vehicle, there's only one spot for you to call. That's my guy Leo at Active Collision. Experienced paint and body technicians will make your car look like it's brand new. You get a free estimate when you call 626-330-0100. They work with all insurance companies. Mention 710 and you get 50% off your insurance deductible. Call 626-330-0100, 626-330-0100, or visit ActiveCollisionRepair.com.
All right, I've got the chips and soda covered. What about you?
I'm bringing chicharrones and the MVP, guac. Northgate Gonzalez Market makes the best guacamole. It's made fresh every day with quality ingredients, so it's always delicious. And the best part, they make it exactly the way I want it. I get extra jalapenos for me and no jalapenos for the kids. We both win.
Score a touchdown every time with guacamole from Northgate Gonzalez Markets. It makes every party a winner. The guacamole from Northgate Gonzalez Market. It's the flavor that unites us. Northgate Gonzalez Market. Every visit has a story.
Sedano and Cap.
Tomorrow at 3 p.m. after Mason and Ireland.
What else did I say? I said Sean Payton will be exactly what Mike McCarthy is. A guy who won a Super Bowl 15 years ago, and everybody hires him because they think they've got some kind of special sauce. Pete Carroll got special sauce. And here's a declaration, not a statement,
a declaration?
not a comment, not a hot take, none of those things.
¿Una declaración?
See, this is a declaration.
Yeah.
You're looking at a brandly new minted Raider fan, people.
Oh, here we go.
I'm all in. Because let me tell you something. When Pete Carroll was at USC and Jim Harbaugh was at Stanford, there was a great rivalry between those two guys. You put Jim Harbaugh on my most hated team, the Chargers, and then you give me my favorite coach, Pete Carroll, to the Raiders in the same division, you're looking at a Raider fan, people. Okay. Raiders!
The LA Afternoon Takeover. That's Sedano and Cap.
on 710 ESPN.
It's crunch time on Lakers Talk.
When the clock is ticking and it's all coming down to the wire, you know what that means.
This is crunch time.
As always, we close out Lakers Talk with a little crunch time. That is Funchy's brainchild. He will be leading the way. What you got, Funchy?
A lot of talk on De'Aaron Fox, where he's going to go. Just a prediction. You think he's going to get traded by next week? And if he's going to get traded, where do you think he's going to go?
Well, it's interesting. I was listening to Locked on Kings, hosted by Matt George. If you are at all interested in this situation, highly recommend it. Matt is very, very plugged into that scene. And he did emphasize that the situation between De'Aaron Fox and the Kings is not bad. Like, this is not a Jimmy Butler...
Where he has to he wants out completely.
Right.
He doesn't even want to come to the facility.
Right. This is not a Jimmy Butler Miami Heat thing. Like, De'Aaron, he said he thinks is unhappy with the way the Kings have allowed for the perception that he was the reason Mike Brown got fired. Like, Matt George stressed, like, De'Aaron's not. Not only that, De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown have a really good relationship. And, you know, he's been there a while. De'Aaron Fox, he's witnessed a lot of turbulence. There's been a lot of chaos with the Kings, but it's not bad. So saying all that to let it be known, this isn't something that is immediately on the clock. That being said, it does feel like it could happen before the deadline. If for no other reason than I don't think there's going to be a lot of big names moving at the deadline.
Me too. I don't think it's going to be a big name too.
So De'Aaron Fox potentially being the biggest, most enticing name out there now could be a time to strike. So, especially too, like I think San Antonio makes a lot of sense from San Antonio's perspective, but also too,
boy, just De'Aaron Fox and Victor.
I made this prediction like a few times for like a few months now that I didn't think it was going to be very long before San Antonio could become a destination that free agents would at least consider going to, that players would try to maybe even force their way towards, because we no longer live in a world where you have to be a Laker or a Knick or a Bull to be seen. Like in 2025, between the NBA package, the internet, social media, half these guys have their own podcasts. Like, there are plenty of big stars in smaller markets, but also it ain't going to be long before Wemby's the best player in the league.
Yep, could be next year.
Wemby can make your life a lot easier. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame De'Aaron Fox at all if San Antonio is where he wants to go.
All right, we were talking about this earlier. Andre Iguodala, he's going to get his number retired by the Warriors. He's going to be the first of the championship team Warriors, four-time champion Warriors, to get retired out of Clay, Draymond, Steph, and him. He's going to be the first one. And there's a little backlash about, should he is he worthy enough to get his number retired by the organization? Blah, blah, blah. We were talking about it in the back. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what you mean to a franchise. Andre Iguodala was a part of 4 championships with the Warriors. He was Finals MVP in 2015. Like, we were talking before about Andre Iguodala, like whether or not he would make the Hall of Fame. I think he is a fringy Hall of Famer if he could make it, for what it's worth.
I think he's in.
I don't know if he's in, or I think
it
he's
might not be first ballot. He might
he's definitely not
first ballot. But
no.
He might get in the 5th ballot or something like that.
Whether Iguodala is a Hall of Famer or not, I'm leaning more towards no. It doesn't change the fact what he meant to the organization. Like, Udonis Haslem is a Heat lifer.
Yeah, but he's not as good as Andre Iguodala.
But I'm pretty sure they've retired his jersey.
They did. They did.
Nick Collison had his jersey retired by the Thunder. Nick Collison is nowhere close to an all-star, much less a Hall of Famer. Like, Nick Collison probably made the all-rookie team, and that's it. But he was a Thunder lifer. And I know from talking with people within the Thunder what he meant to that organization. Like, I remember years ago, I wrote a profile of Kevin Durant that ultimately ended up not getting published. But I was doing a scrum with Durant, and it wrapped up, and you could tell the person wanting to do media was trying to get everyone out there. And I mentioned, like, hey, I was hoping I could talk with Durant about Nick Collison. And Durant immediately said, I'll talk about Nick. Like, I'll absolutely talk about Nick, because he meant that much to the team. Andre Iguodala meant that much to the franchise. We're not talking about retiring Andre Iguodala's number across the NBA. It's for the Warriors.
But going back to the Hall of Fame argument, I get the Michael Cooper kind of parallel with that. Like, I think he will be going in eventually, not first ballot or whatever, but he will get eventually, and, he'll get his due.
I mean, look, whether he does or does not, even if Iguodala doesn't make it into the Hall of Fame, I don't think it really has anything to do with whether or not the Warriors should retire his jersey. He was part of 4 championships.
Not at all. No, not at all.
So, I mean, I think it would be weirder if the Warriors didn't retire his number than actually retiring it. Like, Steph, Clay, and Draymond are no-brainers. But if you asked me, do I think it would be weirder if they retired Iguodala's number or didn't, I'd say didn't.
Yeah, but then it also gets into, like, the Laker parallels, like Derek Fisher. Should he get his number?
Right, but the Lakers have their own. They have their
specific-
own specific standard. You have to be in the Hall of Fame. The Warriors don't have that standard, to the best of my knowledge.
No.
So
I guess we have higher standards here in LA. Huh?
Well, yeah,
We're some
yes.
snobs over here, aren't we?
What's the ring count in LA compared to up north? Like, yeah, damn
a lot
right.
more.
Damn right, we're snobs over here. We ought to be. I mean, look at how many Lakers numbers they managed to retire, even with the Hall of Fame standard. So they can handle it. All right. Again, thank you to Dave McMenamin from ESPN. Thank you to Anthony Irwin from Clutch Points. Next week, we will be in our, what we'd like to think is our normal time, Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you, as always, to Funchy. Thank you, as always, to DeAndre. And thank you to the audience for listening. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetsky, ESPN LA 710.
Are you ready for a party? Oh, party! This Saturday at Cosm, Los Angeles. It's the Michelob Ultra official Lakers watch party. Join Beto Duran broadcasting live for Lakers pre, half, and post. A Lakers photo op with the championship trophy and experience watching Lakers Knicks tip off at 5:30 p.m. and feel like you're at MSG. That's Saturday at Cosm LA. Go to ESPNLA.com. Click on the Michelob Ultra graphic and register to reserve your spot with ESPN LA.